Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Nekopon Gaming and this is Nekopon. Today we're going to talk about the Fishing Star event in SINoALICE. There's lots of stuff happening right now, so let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to take a look at is obviously the most exciting thing usually about any event, the Grimoire itself. This one's called Festival Under the Sea. Festival Under the Sea is available until the 17th, just like all of the other events that are happening around Fishing Star. Festival Under the Sea is a step banner, and on the 5th step you get a featured SR summon guaranteed. What are the SR weapons here? They all have a 0.666% appearance rate, with the first one being the Fishing Rod of Justice. The Fishing Rod of Justice is Snow White's weapon, and Snow White this time is a Tuna Cleric. The Fishing Rod of Justice is a wind 18 cost staff, and the skill here is Breath of Assault 3, greatly restores HP to 1-2 allies and slightly increases allies' P attack. And the support skill is Recovery Support 2. This is an okay weapon. It's not the best, and I don't really recommend staves that are 1-2 allies anymore at this point, unless you are still trying to replace single target staves, but even still I would suggest waiting for a 2-target staff to replace it with. That would be the best use of your crystals. However, it does come with a class, so it can be a little bit enticing, especially because it's Snow White and I know she's very popular, and she does look pretty cool in this class. So let's take a look at the class here. Her class this time comes with 100 magic defense, physical defense, magical attack, and physical attack. With the level 1 arcana, you can get an additional 400 magical defense, and then with the level 2 arcana, you can get an additional 400 physical defense. So the total stats here is actually 500 magical defense, 500 physical defense, 100 magical attack, and 100 P attack if you get both arcanas with her. Now with these stats, they're pretty okay. They're nothing to really run home about, and even though I think the Tuna Cleric and the Tuna Paladin, which is what we're going to look at next, they're both going to be limited classes because they're Tuna classes, I don't think we should be spending our crystals at the moment, just because the Near Replicant Redux is coming, and we're also expecting a lot of great stuff coming out of the first anniversary for SINoALICE. With that all said, we should still take a look at the Fishing Rod of Dependence, because this weapon's actually, in my opinion, a little bit better than the staff. So Fishing Rod of Dependence is a wind 18 cost polearm, as Evil Thunder of Defense 3, dealing great magical damage to 1-2 enemies and slightly reduces the enemy's magical defense, and the Coliseum support is Dauntless Courage 2, which is of course fantastic. It's actually not bad. It has the 5th highest magical attack in all pole arms, so that makes this a pretty decent weapon, and also it comes with a class, so that's pretty cool. This one is Pinocchio Tuna Paladin, and it comes with 100 magical defense, 500 magical attack, and 200 HP up to level 10. And then with the level 1 arcana, you get another 100 magical defense and 300 magical attack. And then with the level 2 arcana, you get another magical defense, 100 magical defense, and 300 magical attack. So the total stats for this one is 300 magical defense, 1100 magical attack, and 200 HP. So I think this is pretty nice for a paladin, and it could be very enticing to kind of roll in this, but again, in my opinion, the best use of your crystals will probably be for the Near Redux banners. Just based on JP, we will have a paladin class in the Near Replicant Redux, so you know, it might be better to be spending your crystals on that one. There'll be more things happening in that banner probably than this one. We also have the Treasure Rod in here. This one is a hammer. This one's a wind 18 cost hammer with the skill of Lightning of Defense 3, deal great physical damage to 1-2 enemies and slightly reduces the enemy's physical defense. The Coliseum support is Dauntless Courage 2. Of course, Dauntless Courage 2 as usual is really great, and this hammer itself is 8th highest in P attack out of all hammers, so it's actually pretty decent, but you know, it's nothing special, and I think we should definitely save for something that's, you know, even more spectacular coming down the line. Next, we also have this featured SR fish. This one is called Rolling Thunder Rockfish, and it has the skill of Sacrifice of Truth 3, which massively increases magical attack of all surviving allies. The skill itself is really helpful if you have a magical vanguard focused team. And then the last thing we have on this banner is the S weapon. I believe this is just a 14 cost weapon. I believe this weapon is just so you can get your limit breaks and get more medals for the fishing event. So speaking of that, you do get more medals for using these weapons, especially if you limit break them when you're going through the event. So if you get the SR weapons with 1 limit break, you get 1.5 times, 2 limit breaks 1.6, so on and so forth. Luckily for us, this banner gives you the Medal of Desire 6s, so we don't have to worry about having another currency. Now let's take a look at the co-op event itself. This one's called Gluttony and Brine. This one's also available until the 17th. There's a ton of rewards for you to collect in this one. So when we head into events, you'll see Gluttony and Brine will be right here. Inside Gluttony and Brine, you can go in here and play all the normal stages and then unlock the hard stages for even more Twilight Crystal collecting and of course story participation rewards. The best stage to farm after you've collected all of these story participation rewards is going to be Hard Verse 10. So let's take a look at actually all the rewards we can get from this event. You can check it out in the event explanation up here, and in here the UI is actually a little bit different from usual. They clean up a little bit and a lot of the information are like nested now. So here you can see I am in Umaru land, and this is how many medals we have collected so far as a guild, all the conquest points that we've collected so far. In the details button right here we can see all the conquest points that were collected, from which verse and which conquest it was. And then in rewards, we can see, depending on which tab you're in the left one, you can see what rewards you can get depending on the collective amount of medals that we've collected, with some really nice juicy Twilight crystals at the bottom. And then for conquest points, it's the same thing. Depending on how much conquest we've done, we can also get a bunch of really cool rewards. So in the guild itself, you can get a gold title depending on how many conquest points your guild collects. So definitely collect your conquest points so your guild can show off their really cool fishing star title. Also coming back here, we want to take a look at our individual rewards. In here you can see a bunch of stuff that you can get depending on how much you've collected, and down here it is 30 Twilight crystals. So let's work real hard to get this. If you want to see the contribution from your guild members, you can see that in here in this contribution buttons. Now there's 2 numbers in here. The left one is the amount of medals that you collected so far, and the one on the right is the conquest points you have collected so far. Now I kind of want to talk about the conquest a little bit. So in here we can see for conquest there's 2 different ones. One of them is Old Man's Fishing Rod and one is Nami's Fishing Rod, and they kind of like alternatively show up for conquest. So if you happen to end up with Old Man's Fishing Rod, he is weaker to magic attack, and then Nami's is weaker to physical attack. But Nami's is actually worth more points. You can see in verse 3 it is worth 30 points, but then Old Man's verse 3 is only worth 20. So if you can, try to clear as many Nami's Fishing Rods as you can. So you can see here you need 40,000 points in order to get the final reward in the Conquest rewards chart. So like, it's going to take a long time and a lot of coordination and dedication to get there when each of these verse clears are only worth 30. So really try your best and work with your guild if you want that gold title. Next, let's take a look at what we can get with the Fishing Star medals. So in the Fish Star medal exchange, you'll see a bunch of different fish nightmares, which is actually pretty funny and cool. It's like you can kind of redeem your own aquarium in here. So for example, these are actually pretty good skills, Blessed Armor. So if you haven't gotten a chance to get the gacha version of those skills yet, these could be a good way to have access to those skills. Otherwise, they make great fodder as well. Make sure to grab all of the black bombs to limit break and equip it into your grid or subgrid to get bonus medals when playing the event story. Of course, there's the Twilight crystals and the usual skill gems and other materials in here as well that you can get. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to add more stuff later like they usually do, but don't forget the gem down here at the bottom. It costs 10,000 but is a super cute stamp of Red Riding Hood going ah ha 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 ha, which is really cool. So for these Fishing Star medals, there's a couple different places that you can earn them in. The first one is login bonus. The second one is obviously just to play the event stages, and you'll get them at the end as one of the rewards. So if you click on this, you can see that you can get it as one of the main drop rewards. It's also a part of the story participation rewards. And then you can also get them in your event missions. I've already cleared out a few of these, so the ones that are most notably missing are the ones where you play co-op with guild members in normal and hard mode. I believe there are 10 of those each, and those give really good amount of medals. When you're playing as event stages, go ahead and check the active effect button to see which weapons you can equip in order to get some extra medals. So for instance, this black bomb artifact that we saw earlier in the medal exchange would be a good candidate to kind of redeem so you can multiply the number of medals that you can get. So for now, I haven't done that yet, but I really should. So don't be like me, get it as soon as you can. So the last thing I want to talk about is the School of Toto Twilight Crystal Nightmare set that's available currently until the 17th as well. This is a pretty solid nightmare that you can purchase up to 5 times to max limit break it. And holy moly, can you look at this form? Can you beat this? It is so freaking cute. The skills here are Blessed Armor, massively increases both physical and magical defense on all surviving allies in the Vanguard. This is exactly like Carcanos or Library Wisp. At max limit break, the P attack will be ranked 2nd under Dryas, and P def will be ranked 2nd right under the last paid nightmare, Loiza. M attack and M def are not notable here, so it's a very physical heavy nightmare if those are stats you're looking for, especially for breakers and crushers. I think I've already covered a little bit about the Conquest itself, but just in case, in here you can see there's 2 different Conquest bosses. The first one is Old Man's Fishing Rod and is weaker to magical attacks. And then the other one is Nami's Fishing Rod, and this one's weaker to physical attacks. You know, when you come in here, they're not going to be very hard in my opinion, but if you want, you can equip armor that is good against human type enemies. Those would be the Schoolgirl set or the Rain Shower sets. And when you bring nightmares, make sure you can use the ones that can enhance your wind damage. So things with Bissell Whirlwind or Gale Blessing or the Bell Sounds a Storm. The conquest points that you can get for each of these is 5, 15, and 20 points for the Old Man's Fishing Rod, and it is 10, 20, and 30 points for Nami's Fishing Rod. Again, these kind of show up during the Conquest slots alternatively, so if you've only been seeing one or the other, try hopping into Conquest slots at a different time, you'll probably see them. So you can get these nightmares for doing these conquests. It is the boss themselves, so you can get these very colorful looking nightmares. Unfortunately, these nightmares can't evolve, so it's likely they're better off as fodder, even though it would have been really nice to have a budget version for whom the bell splashes from Nami. But fear not, Shadow Lord has a chance of coming back in the Near Replicant Redux event, which also has this skill. Alright, that's all I have to cover for this event. Let me know if you have any questions or feedback. I'm happy to answer them down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you want a chance to win 100 Twilight Crystals, please check out the questionnaire linked in the description or pinned comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed my content here today, and I'll see you all next time. Have fun with this event. Bye!